freaks, fans, and friends. It's the Pope of Plastic here again from Harry's Hobbies. Steve, I think this is number 5.
It is.
Is it number 5?
Yep.
We've done some real beauties. We sure have. Last week we did the space shuttle. We did the Diamond Duster. What a hit that was.
Beautiful. We can't forget the USS Melvin.
USS Melvin. I call it the USS Ham and Cheese Sandwich because I can never remember the name of it. When we did the Hindenburg, was the Hindenburg the first one? Or the Zeppelin? I think that was the first one that we did.
No, I think that was the second.
What was the first one? I can't remember.
That big Lindbergh dragster.
Dragster?
Or
no.
that Diamond Duster.
That was the one week before last. I think the Hindenburg was the first one.
Yeah, it could have been.
It was the first one. I don't know. The first one I know I was high on pain medication because I just had surgery. I was supposed to be in bed, but I was up over here. I shouldn't have ever even driven here. Do not drink. Do not use drugs and drive, please.
No.
Please. What do we got today, Steve? We have got a treat. We're digging back into one of the greatest model companies of all time, and that is Aurora. Now, some of you might remember that Aurora did, now this is, you're going to tell me if I'm right or wrong, Aurora did all the Mummy, the monster models. They did the Mummy, they did Dracula, they did the Werewolf, they did a bunch of great models. I remember those as a kid. Then they also did a whole bunch of other things. And we have a treat for you. We're going back into the shipping lanes today, but we're not going back to World War II. We're not doing a what do you call it, a aircraft carrier or a destroyer. Today we are going back to the high seas, Steve, and we're going to do this beautiful, the Wanderer whaler ship. Now this is we're in New England. We are not far from New Bedford, which was the whaling capital of the world. And then you have Nantucket. You remember Moby Dick and all that kind of stuff. Well, this is a ship. I don't know. I'm just going off the top of my head here like I always do. But I would have to think this was probably from the New England area. I would imagine that this ship is from. Somebody's going to tell me.
Very well could be.
And I have to say this every single video. I am not an expert. I am not an expert. I was not in the whaling business. I've never sailed on a big ship. I'm just a model builder, and I'm opening up interesting models for you people out there. And so that doesn't mean I know everything. So I'm going to miss things. I'm going to mispronounce things. I'm going to call things, wrong. I am not a schooner captain. I'm a model builder, so I'm just going to preface that for you today once again, because somebody will message me and say, well, that wasn't, this and that and this and that. And my response is, I don't know everything. I know how to build models. I do that okay, but I'm not an expert. When I become an expert is after I've built the model. I study it, I try to learn, and when I come away from the model, I wouldn't even say an expert, but I know a little bit more about the actual whatever it is after I'm done building it. And that's the fun of model building, is that we try to learn things as we model build. I mean, this isn't building a cat puzzle or something like that, 500-piece cat puzzle that you're going to do on the kitchen table. We're talking about model building here. We're talking about, most of the time, we're building history. Sometimes you're building sci-fi, but every time we're building models, at least when I'm doing it, I can only talk from my experience, is that I'm trying to learn about the subject. And then the good thing is I'm trying to pass that information on to somebody else. So when somebody comments and says, that's not correct, blah, 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 well, that's good. Keep the complaints coming. Keep the information coming, because I read it and then I become a little bit more educated, and I don't ever get mad that somebody calls me out or whatever. I use it as what we call a learning moment. I'm not the teacher sometimes. Oh, look at that, my voice changed. I wouldn't call that a teaching moment. I call it a learning moment. I'm learning. So when you give me comments about, this, that, and the other, I appreciate it. And I love hearing the complaints. And if you don't like something I'm doing, who cares? No, I'm just kidding. Here we go. So this is the Aurora. I don't even know what it is. Steve put this out here. The only thing I ask when Steve or anybody else gives me a model, I don't go walking around looking for stuff. They find me the model. They make sure there's instructions in it. They make sure that it is complete, because I don't want to show you an incomplete model. And my big rule is, don't hand me a model that's been started by some nudnik back in 1967. I want the real deal that hasn't been touched, hasn't been built. I don't want any models that have been built by some nudnik. You know, back in the day, didn't know what the hell he was doing. I want a complete brand new model. That's my only criteria. And then other than that, I don't read the box. I don't look inside. I don't do any peripherals around the model. I'm literally picking it up for the first time and opening it together with you. And that is the joy of vintage unboxings from Harry's Hobbies here every Friday. And let's see what we got here. The Wanderer Whaler, approximately 2 feet long when assembled. Oh man. Real metal chains, that's good. And authentic flags. Running and standing rigging of actual thread, molded sails and rat lines, unique display stand with a nameplate molded in multicolors. Really don't care about that. Simple assembly, masterpiece results. And then what do we say here? During the 1840s, whaling constituted the lifeblood of New England, which what I just said. I said we were in New England. New England's economy, hardy sailing men on strong vessels roamed the North Atlantic, hunting these giant animals, which were later processed for oil, blah, blah, blah. So I was right. So this is a ship based from New England. I would probably think New Bedford, which is literally like maybe 30 minutes from here.
Not far.
Not far at all. And I just watched that series, Steve. What was it? It was about Moby Dick, but it wasn't called Moby Dick. And it was
Leviathan?
No. It was Custom of the Sea, which was about when they actually went out and they were searching for Moby Dick, and Moby Dick attacks the boat and everything. I won't give away the whole movie, but they're stranded at sea for a long, long time based on a true story, and they ended up having to eat each other. And the custom of the sea is when somebody's going to tell me this too. Yeah, it's not custom of the sea. I'm telling you what I understand custom of the sea is. And they would draw sticks, and whoever had the shortest stick, like I got the short end of the stick, remember that phrase? Which comes from the custom of the sea, that if you drew the shortest stick, they would dispatch you and you would get eaten. So, look, this is supposed to be about fun. It's supposed to be about model building, not cannibalism. But we veer off course here sometimes.
There's a great author, Eric J. Dolan, that has fantastic nautical books, and I recently finished one on whaling. Excellent book for our viewers.
I love the whole whaling, the idea of whaling. Do I want to go out and whale? No. But I like the idea of it. I like the legend of it. I like, if you go down to the Whaling Museum down in New England, down in New Bedford, and I encourage anybody who comes to to this area, go to the Whaling Museum. They do not sponsor me, by the way. I'm sponsored by no whaling museums or anything. I'm just telling you, it's a great museum. And New Bedford is a beautiful little New England town when you think of it. So if you ever visit, you're coming to visit the Pope, coming to visit Harry's, there's lots to do around here. You don't just have to come see me and see Harry's. You can go down into New Bedford, go to the Whaling Museum. There's all sorts of fun stuff to do. Okay, let's get to the cut to the chase here. At the end, I'm also going to have a couple little surprises, Steve, to share with everybody. Anyway, here we go. So we got a beautiful kit. This is, I'm going to say this is 1960s. 1966, Steve.
Oh, right. Woo.
Finally, last week I was way off because I thought the kit was from the 80s and ended up being from 1998, which was yesterday for both of us. 1966 is 2 years before I was born. So we're talking a long time ago. So anyway, let's open this baby up. It just has kind of the same information on each side. We're gonna open this thing up. I can't wait to see this. This is exciting because I love sailing ships. My dream is to do a wood model. I've never done a wooden boat before, and I would like to do one, and eventually at some point I will do it. Here we go. We got the instruction booklet, which is sometimes our favorite part. But here we got beautiful artwork. This automatically brings me back to my childhood days of storybooks and swashbuckling and things of that nature. And that is, this looks nice. This is encouraging. The instructions, it even comes with a, look at this, Steve. It comes with a whale display. That is worth the price of admission alone right there. Is the whale display. That is really, really cool. Okay, detail A, note position of eye bolts. Okay. You know, there's now some of the instructions we've been looking at recently have just been diagrams, you know, where they're showing an arrow and you put the piece here and you put the. This is kind of more what I prefer. I like reading.
These are pretty comprehensive.
These are some comprehensive instructions for this thing. So far, I have the only Aurora model I've ever built was I built the Mummy. I built the Mummy in the 70s. I built the Mummy, and that was what a model kit that was. They still make that. You know, they make a new releases of that exact kit, but I've never seen anything like a plane or a boat or anything else. But yeah, these are comprehensive instructions.
I think Aurora really defined the halcyon days of modeling.
Yeah, I would say so. This is a really nice looking instruction booklet. Very interesting instruction booklet. Very comprehensive, like you said. Lots of little details. We're going to see how the molding is. I mean, the instructions are one thing, but, you know, how is the molding of the kit itself? And can we actually come out with a good model all these years later, you know, taking a vintage kit and actually building, you know, a great kit from it. And that's what we're really interested in seeing. Is it worth your time to, you know, try to find this and buy this, or call Harry's and buy this kit? Here's your chain. There's your anchors. Yeah, this is pretty comprehensive right here. Your davits for your rowing boats. Huh. I wonder if it's got the harpoon in it. You would think if it's a whaling boat, they would include a harpoon with it. I would think that would be almost mandatory, that if you're going to do a whaling ship, that we should have a harpoon. I do not see a harpoon as of yet. I'm going to be very disappointed. Oh, here we go. Harpoons. There's some harpoons.
Right.
There we go.
So you can go on a Nantucket sleigh ride.
That's right, a Nantucket sleigh ride, which was when the whale, you harpooned into the whale, and then the whale would take off, and it would drag the boats, and then they would the whale would sound, and then they would have so much rope, and they would say how many fathoms down it was. They would know they had so many fathoms of rope. If it got too far down, they'd have to cut the rope, from what I understand. So anyway, instructions look terrific. Really nice instructions. Now let's look at some detail here. I gotta say, this is not all raised. A lot of it is recessed. The wood is, now this is interesting, and this is really cool, and I'm happy to see this, is that the wood paneling is recessed, and the copper plating is raised. So if you're weathering this thing, man, you could do some really nice weathering with the copper hull on this thing. Look at the molding of the eagle on the front is very nicely done. I really don't see a whole lot of flash on the outside, so that's good. We'll just look at the other side, the same thing. I just want to see the fit and the finish here. Not the finish, the fit.
It doesn't appear too bad at all.
No, it's not too bad. This is, I mean, this could just be over time right here. So you'd wanna clamp that and glue that down. But no, the fit, I mean, it looks really cool. I think this could make a really cool, you know, when are we going to get a real disaster of a kit, Steve? Every kit I've opened so far has not been too bad so far. I'm hoping for an absolute disaster because that's what people want to see. They don't want to see a great kit.
Well, we did have that space shuttle.
The space shuttle wasn't great because they didn't mold the tiles on it. Now this is, look, this is already open, so I wasn't going to open it, but it is already open. Here's your deck. I love, anytime you can get, a lot of people will say, oh, you know, the panel lines were too deep, you know, or things like that. This is a real opportunity for weathering. And the deeper it is, because you can fill that with color and then go back, you know, line filler or pastel or whatever you want to do. And you can really go in and it looks like every single, and this is what I love seeing, every single wood plank is done differently, which, you know what this tells me? This was done by hand. Whoever did the plates and did the master of this really spent the time to go in and do every single plank slightly differently. You know, today when they're doing a mold, it's all done in CAD. They're putting in all of the detail information into the CAD, whether it is wood planking or anything like that. And what happens is, because they're lazy, because this is 2025 and everybody is lazy, all they do is duplicate the same pattern over and over and over, so you don't get much character, or we should say personality. This, there was some guy, poor guy, sat there all day long because he's probably paid by the hour. He's like, you know what? I'm going to sit here all frickin' day for 6 months, and I'm going to do in every single piece of wood grain on every single plank. God bless this man. God bless. He probably still tells stories to his great kids today about how he sat in the Aurora factory smoking his Pall Malls and engraved every single plank on this boat. I love seeing this.
Well, now, what was the tooling that he would have been engraving into?
Well, I think they would have done. No, I think they probably. Look, I don't know. Somebody's going to tell me. I mean, the tooling would have been steel tooling, so I don't think he probably was going in and engraving all that. I think he was probably doing a master out of clay or something like that. I'm thinking, I don't know, somebody will tell me again, that he would be doing this all in clay or something like that, and then that clay model would be made into a mold, and that mold would be made into something that could be replicated in steel. I'm guessing. Somebody's going to tell me, that guy's out of his mind. But anyway, something along those lines. I don't think he was actually engraving a metal plate. Now, I could be wrong. But anyway, he did take the time to do every single plank. We spent 30 minutes on the planking. Here's I don't know what that is. You know, the plastic is still fairly flexible for being so old. Let's just look at one of the boats in here. The inside is nicely detailed. Look at that. They did a nice job. You got a couple little ejection pen marks, but those are easy to remove. They're not super deep. They even have some little detail on the wood to show some wood graining on the inside of that. So that's really good. This got really, breaking off all the pieces here. Don't break off all the pieces. I'm going to order that from Harry. Well, I'm sorry. Anyway, so far everything's molded good. It's molded in 3 colors. Here's some of your rigging. Now, look, if I'm going to do this kit, I'm going to do all the rigging out of actual, rope and string and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, if you're a beginner, because what's here, I mean, all of this is just too thick for my taste, which is going to make the model look fake. And I would want this to look, very, realistic. So what are you going to do? You're going to use rope, you're going to use, thread. You're going to use easy line. You're going to use whatever it is, whatever your line of choice is to mimic the look of the actual rope and scale, is what I would do. The oars look good. These little sails. I think these are the sails for the actual the little boats. I'm thinking that's what those are. But they're molded beautifully. Not bad at all. That looks like it's an injection seat. I don't think they had injection seats on the USS. Whatever this thing is called. What was the name of this ship? The USS
Wanderer.
The Wanderer, the Lucky Wanderer. So we got all that stuff. That looks good. Here are some of your like the wheelhouse and the things like that. I just want to look in here and see. I gotta say the plastic seems pretty good for being how old it is. It's a lot of times on a lot of model kits, when they're this old, the plastic becomes very, very brittle and you can break it. This still seems like it's fairly flexible. And again, all the detail, all the molding looks really good, looks outstanding. What is this? Oh, here's one of your whales. Beautiful. For the base. That is really cool. I love the base. The base is just awesome. Your sails. Now again, the sails are molded nicely. They're a little thick. So I think that I would recreate these sails out of a fabric. But hey, look, I mean, if you're a beginning modeler and you don't want to go to all of that, I think you're gonna get a really nice looking model. Not because they did anything wrong in the molding, and the molding doesn't look good. They took their time and really took their time and produced something that it's artwork as far as I'm concerned. I mean, somebody spent a lot of time to sculpt all this stuff. And I even love the sign. And I tell you, you weather this, you do this in an old copper and then do it all tarnished looking, using some blacks and greens, and you see a little bit of the copper coming out from under, beneath this, like when I did the Nautilus from 20,000 Leagues Into the Sea. It's like a 5-step process to kind of really make it look like patinaed copper, and that is certainly what I would do on here. I would give it that look. But
yeah,
hey,
you're right on the money about New Bedford, because this says Mattapoisett, Massachusetts.
Mattapoisett, yeah.
So it's right near New Bedford.
Yeah, right down there. I bet it sailed out of New Bedford, I would think. Okay, it still has a chain. Chain looks really great. I hate it when these are just paper flags. You could readily get new flags or have them printed now, digitally printed on fabric, and do the flags that way. It does come with some line here. It looks like waxed thread, which is good. A lot easier to use, a lot easier to tie knots, a lot easier to thread when you're using waxed. At least in my experience. So
and it looks better over time.
It looks much better over time. Fuzzy. Absolutely. And I'm a big fan. I go to craft stores all the time when I'm looking for rope to emulate rope, and I love the waxed rope. The waxed, they have like thicker string, and it looks just like rope, and I got some not too long ago, and it's great. So my opinion would be just go to a craft store and look for different types of, threads and things like that. Here's your decals. I don't think that these are still going to work, Steve. I think these have seen better days. And I guess these would be for the boat, for all of the little whaling rowboats. Very, very cool. Wow. I mean, it's a nice kit. I mean, it's all here. It's all here, ready for you. And I think even if you didn't do all the things that I would do, like replacing all of the I don't even know what you call those things that you climb up on to get to the sails. What are those
rat
called?
lines.
Rat lines.
Rat lines.
Even if you didn't redo those, an actual rope or whatever, I think you still, I mean, weathering, I think for this thing would just be phenomenal. There's so much potential here to do amazing weathering for this thing. And you want to talk about great subject matter. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. This is really cool. The other thing is that if you don't want to build a wood ship because it's really expensive and it takes a long time, you know, the plank on frame construction, this is a great alternative for somebody who loves boats and is looking for a boat that has a lot of detail and a lot of character to it. This is the one. This is the one. This has way more detail than the SS Ham Sandwich. This thing is got a lot of detail baked into it, and regardless, you're gonna come out with a beauty of a model, without a doubt. And it's, you know, this is an old model, 1966. This thing stands up to this day, I'd have to say.
That's a very nice kit.
It is a very nice kit, and I don't see even a modern day, if they were to reproduce this in modern day, the only things I can see that they would need to change would be to do actual sail material or do the sails in a thinner material. These are a little bit thick. Molding wise, I really don't see anything different that I would do, because it does have raised and recessed panel lines, which I think it's not an airplane. Recessed and raised details, I should say. Great kit. Come on. I have no idea what Harry would charge for this thing, but I can guarantee you, if you brought Harry in a submarine sandwich or, you know, and maybe some sodas, he'd probably give you a little bit off on this thing. I mean, I can't see him arguing with you, you know, if you came in and offered him a reasonable price for this. Look, I'm not Harry. Harry could say, get the hell out of here. I want $900 for this thing and don't speak to me. But Harry doesn't see, you know, Harry can be ornery. I'm not going to lie to you. And if you get him in a bad mood, maybe he'll stick to his guns. I don't think he's going to harpoon you. He could. No. But I think that he would give you a nice deal on this kit if you came in and you said, hey, I saw the Pope of Plastic review this kit. Harry, is there anything you can do for me? You know, I just had to replace the transmission on my truck, and you know, the wife just divorced me and has taken everything. I'm living in a lawn chair at my friend's house in his shed out back, but I need a model to build. Harry, could you cut me a deal? I think he'd probably cut you a deal.
All I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer about.
That's right. Amen. That's exactly right. Now listen, I got a couple surprises for you. I love when people give me feedback on my videos. And I had a gentleman, I can't remember who it is. Again, I don't do any homework on these things. But a gentleman said, hey, Pope, could you unbox a Hawk kit? Now, number one, I said, wait, I've heard of Hawk kits. I had never built one for sure. And I said, you know what? I bet Harry's got some Hawk kits laying around. He's got to have a Hawk kit. This gentleman apparently built these kits when he was a kid. And guess what, Steve? You guys found a Hawk kit for me. It's not a huge one. So this is a double whammy vintage unboxing here. We like to call this the double whammy. And I got to bring this out for you. Ladies and gentlemen, you ask and I shall provide the Hawk kit, Lockheed T-33. Now, look, I'm going to move the SS whaling boat, whatever the heck it's called. Here we go. We got a Hawk T-33A. Now, this is definitely from the 60s. There is no way that this is from the 70s. This is 60s, may even be 19... Look at this, Steve. 1966 again.
There we go.
This looks like a cool kit. I love the box. I love the vintage 1960s box art. So cool looking. Looks just amazing. Now I have no idea what this model kit, judging by the picture on the box here, Doesn't look too bad if that tells us anything. So let's open her up. And now some of the other planes they have, the F-104 is one of my favorite airplanes of all time. And then the F-2H-2 Banshee and a P-51 Mustang. This is
beautiful.
That is a
missile with a man in it.
I did one of those, the human missile. I did one of those in all metal. I've done 2 of them in all metal. And if you go to my website, thepopoplastic.com, you can see both of those aircraft that I did in full metal.
Excellent website, folks. It's excellent.
Thank you. This also has a full engine. Okay, I can't wait any longer. Let's go. I hope this is a treat. I hope the gentleman came back and is going to watch again. Wow, look at these instructions. We're going way back, 1966. Look at this. Now these are fully illustrated, like literally somebody sat down and did drawings of all of these. Let's see. So here's step 1. Again, these are all hand drawn. I love this. This is so cool. They got the little pilot that's going to talk to you and tell you, what is his name? Captain Hawk is my name. I was trained in a T-33, and she sure was a good ship. A lot of the guys who flew the T-33s are building these Hawk kits just like you. Seems that Hawk models are the most authentic and realistic-looking models available today. And the guys guys down at the Ramada Inn that I drank with, and they love these kits. Anyway, this looks... Man, I love it. This is like stepping back in time right here. And this is what we're talking about when we're talking about vintage kits. This is vintage. Instruction, a lot of writing. I'm not going to sit here and read through it all, but the illustrations and the writing look great. Just really cool. I don't know how good the instructions are, but they look cool. And you got the Japanese flying bomb, and we got the self-propel. This is really like kind of the original cruise missile from the Luftwaffe. Very, very cool. Now let's get into the meat of the action. Of course, it's going to be raised panel lines. But man, I got to tell you, back in 1966, they were doing some good work. Look at that. Look at the detail. Steve, that is not bad. Look at that. Now, my opinion on this, a kit like this, for me, is that this is too much nostalgia to build. I think I would keep this in the box. I don't think I would build it, even though I think it would make for a very, very nice looking airplane. This is molded exceptionally well. Again, it's all raised panel lines, which that doesn't bother me whatsoever. Some people, I say that every week. Raised panel lines, that's, who cares? You can do some nice weathering with raised panel lines. So, yep. Actually, this was molded in 1964. See that? Made in the USA in 1964. The molding looks good. I mean, really looks outstanding for the year. Who knew Hawk was producing such fantastic kits back this way back like this? Look, the figures are even not too bad. I mean, the guy's got to lose, I would say this guy could lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds.
Oh, definitely.
He's probably not getting in a T-33 shaped like this. I think he needs to, lay off the Jello molded desserts back in the 60s.
Oh.
in the Pall Malls, like I said earlier, and then maybe he could get one of these. Very nice, very nicely molded. I just want to do a quick look. That came right up. I want to see a quick fit test here. Not bad at all. I mean that is terrific for 1964. Look at that. I'm impressed. Here's your engine. Let's see the cockpit here. Well, there's not much detail in the cockpit. I don't really see any. Oh, they do have a decal. Now the decals you'd want to replace. I mean, look at the printing quality on this control panel. That's not so great. I wouldn't give Hawk the top scores for their decals, but the rest of the model, look, even the clear plastic is not too. What happens back in the 60s, the clear would be really, really thick and not very good. Is it thick? Yeah, but not crazy thick, and it's molded nicely. Let me put this back in here. What a beautiful surprise that this Hawk kit was. It really
It'd be a good nostalgia build.
This is well, like I said, I wouldn't be building this kit just because I'd want to keep it the way it is. I think it's cool that people can look and see what a model kit looked like back in the 60s unbuilt, and I think this is a good example of that. So no, I probably would not build this. You can find other T-33s that are newer that you could build, and you could keep this one, on the shelf. And when you're sitting around, with your buddies after your wife's throwing you out, you're living in the hotel room, and this doesn't take up a whole lot of room. You can have this with you, and you could sit with your buddies, and
especially if you're living in a shed.
Yeah, well, your buddy that lives in the shed could meet you over at the hotel room, and you guys could sit and get a handle of Canadian Club and sit around and talk about models, and you could pull this one out and say, hey, since we're talking about models, check this out, and y'all could sit and marvel at that. Now, one last thing. This is a long video today, and I'm sorry, everybody. This is the way it is. I don't come in here rehearsed. I don't have cue cards. I don't have anything like this. We come in here raw, and we speak from from our hearts. That's what happens. I said this last time. May 18th, we're having a big model show here at Harry's. Not here at Harry's, at the Elks Lodge in Franklin, Massachusetts, and I am going to be one of the judges. And we have a special trophy we're going to be giving to the best in show, and I'm really excited to show it to you right now. And here she is. And this might look familiar to you. It is the golden PP, the golden Popa plastic. There it is.
Beautiful.
So that we will be giving this away for Best in Show May 18th at the Franklin Elks Lodge. We're gonna have a bunch of different categories, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. You can buy kits. Who knows? I might even bring this Hawk kit along with me and try to hawk this. I might just I might smuggle this out and not tell Harry about it, and then try to sell it at the show. That's a possibility. I don't think I can get the SS sperm whale out because that's a big box, but this I might be able to sneak out. So come see me, come see Steve, come see Harry, come see the whole gang down here at Harry's at the model show. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a Q&A section. We're going to have new kits and old kits and die-cast and Hot Wheels cars, and then we're going to have the big modeling competition. So make sure, and I have it. The information is on my website, thepopaplastic.com. You can go and sign up, find out the categories, and you can enter the contest, and you might take a miniature bust of my head home with you, and you could have this in the hotel room with you. You could have the Hawk model that you buy from me. You could have this sitting, in between the two beds in the hotel room next to your ashtray full of cigarette butts and your nearly empty handle of Canadian Club, and you could have this sitting right next to you.
A thing of beauty is a joy forever.
That's exactly right. No, all kidding aside, it's open to all ages, and we want everybody to come and have a good time. And most importantly, I want you to come to Harry's, and I want you to try and buy this Hawk. I want you to try to pry this from Harry's hands. I want you, the SS sperm whale, I want you to try to pry that from Harry's hands. Tell him I sent you. I think he'll probably release both of those to your ownership, if you will, if you come in and you're nice to him. What else do I got? Please like and subscribe. Please, and share this with your friends. I need as many people around the world sharing in the excitement of vintage model unboxings, and that might stir up your juices. You might want to build a model after seeing this, or you may want to stay away from this hobby as far as you can because I've turned you off from the hobby. Either way, try to share the video, try to like and subscribe. Go by my website, thepopoplastic.com. Watch me build live on TikTok mainly. Sometimes I build live on YouTube, but I post a lot to YouTube. But you can catch me live on TikTok pretty much every single night at 7 p.m. You can ask me crazy questions. You can watch me build. You can watch me get angry. And listen, the most important thing to know is that everybody needs a hobby, especially if you're doing bad things. You got to get rid of the bad things, and you got to start with something that's good and fun. And for me, it's model building. Model building has saved my life, and that's true fact, not figuratively. A true fact that model building saved my life. I won't get into all the details here, but I have a hobby because I need one. And I like preaching to everybody that you should have a hobby. And for me, it's turned into a profession, and I love model building, and it is the greatest, and you can do this for forever and ever. They talk about, oh, you can play golf too. And well, my dad's 88. He can't play golf anymore. Model building, my dad could probably sit down and build a model if he wanted to, and you could too. So from Harry's Hobbies, vintage model unboxings every Friday. I am the Pope of Plastic. That's Steve behind the camera.
Hi, everyone.
And we will see you here next Friday where we unbox something amazing, I am sure. Thanks so much for watching.